From the heartland of America, focused on God, family, and country, the mouthpiece of the Midwest. This is Dale Carter's America.
From our podcast studio in Raytown, Missouri, I am Dale Carter. He is Kurt Wheeler, and this is Dale Carter's America. And what were you saying about my shirt? Doesn't do much for my kicking the boomer image. I am a boomer, for Christ's sake.
Well, yeah, no, I know. I just said, you know, you own multiple Ronald Reagan T-shirts.
I do.
That's not boding well for the whole boomer thing. That's
fine.
Yeah.
And actually, what's the one after boomer? Is it Gen Z?
Older or younger?
Younger.
Gen X.
Gen X.
Yeah.
Because I'm right on the border. I was born in 1963, and the cutoff for the boomer is 64, so I'm not that damn old.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, but the Ronald Reagan shirts are not helping. You need some like Aerosmith T-shirts or something like that. You know, maybe bring it down a little bit.
I played them in my rock and roll days, but I've been in country for a very long time. Way off the subject there. Hope everybody's doing great here. We have a lot to get to on Dale Carter's America, the podcast today. First, we want to thank Bob Watson. He's definitely a boomer, I think. Maybe, I don't know. What's the one older than boomer?
Greatest Generation.
Yeah, he's probably.
But that's like people that were in World War II.
No. He's definitely a boomer.
Yeah.
So Bob and I are both boomers, and Bob's going to take care of you with your insurance needs. Bundle your home and car insurance.
We're bumbling this podcast
and even
so far.
save more. I'm telling you, we're packing a lot into this episode, and I'm packing a lot into this week. But Bob Watson's going to take care of you. He takes care of my family. We just added a new vehicle for Jennifer, and we got a beater for Little Lord Fauntleroy, and he put it all into one big package for us, one big beautiful bill of State Farm insurance, and it's working out real well for us. 816-229-7878, Auto Home Life. Bob's headquartered at 7th and Main in Blue Springs, and he'll take care of you from there, whether you live in Kansas or Missouri. State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Bob is the gold standard in State Farm agents in the Kansas City metro area. Give him a shout and let him give you a rate quote. Meanwhile, Kurt's going to tell you all the ways that you can consume Dale Carter's America, be part of it, and help us spread the word.
Absolutely. Make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube or Rumble. If you're watching this on video, we do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, drop a comment, drop a like, and it all helps with the algorithm and helps us get in front of new people, and share the link as well. So we do appreciate that. You can find the audio-only podcast on Apple, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and then join in the conversation on Facebook as well.
All right. I've been playing footsie with the folks in Jackson County for a while now. I can tell you that there will be an announcement coming on Monday. This podcast will drop on Friday, and so by Monday of next week, there will be an announcement. I am like, it's the hokey pokey, right foot in, left foot in, you know, and all that. Right. And I'm so close. But there's one little T I've got to cross, one more I I've got to dot. But I think you could read between the lines and know what that announcement is going to be on Monday. Jackson County will have a decision to make on Frank White. That is coming up on September 30th. In fact, if you have an excuse, you know, like you're going to be out of town or something's going on there, you can go to the courthouse and vote in advance, but they have an approved list of excuses. Other than that, you've got to be there on September 30th at your favorite polling place. And the vote to recall is yes. Shall Frank White be recalled? If you want to fire Frank White, you must vote yes. It's kind of like bass backwards there. You would think, you know, should Frank White stay? No. Get him out of there. Well, if you vote no, and that's the majority opinion, he's going to stay.
Right.
If you want to fire him, vote yes. So that's how I look at it. Don't look at it as recall. Shall we fire Frank White? And if the answer for you is yes, then you need to vote yes.
Always read the fine print in the on the ballots. You know, read the specific language of the ballot, because it's very misleading sometimes.
Sometimes on purpose.
Yeah, it's like, shall we not allow voting to not affirm X? And you're like, it's like that meme of like the lady doing all the calculations in her head.
The internet use tax is one of those things that a lot of communities have passed, Blue Springs has not passed it, like 2 or 3 times it's been on the ballot, but the language is so confusing. I don't think people know exactly what they're voting for, and that comes from the Secretary of State's office in Jefferson City. It's not like the cities are writing that language. So the issues in Jackson County, as I see them, clearly the assessment debacle is front and center. Now, if Frank White gets fired, I think in his mind, he's going to think it relates to the stadium issue. Right, the vote that didn't go their way for the stadiums, he's crossways with that. He's been bitter ever since, the Royals kind of showed him the door. You could read that in his book. He is going to think to his grave that it's about the stadium issue. It's not about the stadium issue. It's about the assessment debacle. And, communities out there are getting it right. Somewhere in my stack of stuff, I have Platte County. They just settled a deal with the Missouri Tax Commission and I can't find it. It may be stuck to the back here.
I'll find it.
You'll find it? Yeah, maybe I didn't bring it.
Platte County reaches agreement with state tax commission to raise property tax assessments.
Yeah, like 6-something%, right? It's less than 7%. And the value of...
The increase aligns more closely with actual home prices.
Right.
Noting a roughly 7.75% home price increase in the county from 2019 through 2024. It's also a significant reduction from STC's original July 30th order that would have mandated a 15% increase across Platte County.
Right. So that was their initial deal, and they got it lower. So why can't we get that done in Jackson County? Why is the residential thing still a mess with this Board of Equalization that, honestly, from what I've heard, I've never been before the Board of Equalization, but it's like you're guilty and you've got to prove why you're not. And it's tough to get that done. And now what we've seen on the other side of it, on the other side of residential, is businesses, and business tax assessments are going through the roof. I just told you about Bob Watson. He almost had a coronary when he got his. So it's like this appointed assessor appointed by Frank White. I mean, let's just say it. You almost feel like they're trying to drive people out of their homes, drive businesses out of the county. What's going to be left?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have any residents and we don't have any businesses, but we got a big county.
Well, then they'll probably try and create something statewide or reach into other counties,
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll open up another government-owned grocery store and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, that's a play too from like a real estate perspective. If you own a home in like Clay County or Platte County, don't sell. Not yet.
Yeah. So that the assessment is going to be something, if that's still going on, and if I run and if I win, that's something we're going to be drilling down on. We are going to figure that out. I think that Republicans and Democrats can work together on this. Manny Abarca is looking at these business assessments going, what the hell are we doing here? So Republicans and Democrats, they want competent government. And for some reason, there's a disconnect on the executive side. Maybe we'll fix part of that on September the 30th. We'll see about that. I want to find a way for seniors to be exempt from property tax, right? You've done your bit. You've put your kids through school. Why am I paying for the schools?
Yeah. Can we get something in there about podcast studios being exempt from property taxes?
Good luck with that. Yeah.
I don't know. It was worth a shot.
Accountability. That's a big one for me. Do we really need to be spending $500 million in Jackson County? That's the budget. $500 million. Okay. Once you get past, roads and potholes and paying for the sheriff's department, paying for the courts, what's the rest of it going for? Parks? What's the rest of it going for? That's the question I'm going to have here. And what is Eastern Jack getting out of it? What Eastern Jack right now is, and we've talked about this for years now, one of the reasons I wanted to get out of this county is because we're the cash register for what's going on downtown and in the urban core. So I would be running to represent Eastern Jackson County and would look forward to doing that. Next up would be a top-down review. The budget, taxes, spending, a charter review. Went through a couple of those in Blue Springs when I was on the city council. Why does Frank White have so much power? Why does any executive have so much power? When you look back at the history of Jackson County since I've been here for the last 30 years, it seems like we've had a problem in that executive role there and the staffing and all that. Where does the legislature come into this? Maybe things need to be changed to make the legislature even more powerful. If you look at the charter, once it defines the county and what the borders are and all that, the next thing there is the legislature, much like the Constitution. If you look at the Constitution, Article 1 is about Congress. Article 2 is the executive. And maybe we need to get back to that, making the legislature more preeminent and more responsive to voters. And then you've got the executive who takes what gets passed in the legislature and implements it, right? That's what I think ought to be done anyway. We'll find out what can be done about that. And then Brad Lemon was our guest last week, the president of the FOP in Kansas City. I think he's adamant about building a jail.
Yeah.
I
got that impression.
I saw Quentin Lucas posted something on his Facebook page about all the wonderful things he's doing, and everybody is like throwing every sling and arrow at him, and Brad Lemon simply says, build a jail. Because we got to get these criminals off the road instead of turnstiling them back out there. Okay, so that's kind of what I would be looking at running for the Jackson County Legislature. Again, no announcement. We'll have that on Monday, but that's definitely going to be a start. Holding in the back pocket, because you always need to have a back pocket option, and that's what Mike Steinmeier calls the nuclear option of separation, and that's working with individuals in the Missouri legislature to get the proper ballot language on the ballot and then separate. And I got no qualms with that because, I think you know me well enough here. I'm not a politician. I think I'm a pragmatic problem solver. It's what I've done in radio for 40 plus years as a manager in radio. Pragmatic problem solving. Show me the problem and let's fix it. I think Sean Smith does that. He's very good at that. There are some people there who are like, God, if we do that, what's the calculation? What next office can I run for? I've been out of politics for a while now, and I was happy to be out of politics. It was the Republican Party that came to me and said, we need you to help us. So I'm like, okay, I'll put my Truman County thing in my back pocket here and maybe jump in there and help you get that done. So again, that's coming on Monday. And we'll definitely talk about it next week on the podcast here at Dale Carter's America. Because on the podcast, unlike broadcast, this is the Wild West. As you know, there aren't any rules.
We can say whatever we want.
And we oftentimes do. So that's the update on Jackson County. Again, don't forget to vote on September the 30th. Regardless of how you feel. So somebody put on the Facebook page for us, or my own personal Facebook page, I put up the ballot language and told them exactly how they have to do it if they want to do it that way. And somebody said, I live outside Jackson County, but why would anybody vote to keep Frank White after all of this? And my reply was, well, he's got family. He's probably going to get some positives.
Yeah. But he was the baseball guy, Dale.
That's exactly why he won. Do you remember that? Were you in town for one of those elections?
I think I remember seeing that. He had a big
billboard.
He had a big thing right over the highway, right by the stadiums, right?
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that.
And the big billboard coming into town right around the Jackson and Benton curves.
Yeah.
And all it was a big white billboard, and the middle of it, there was a raised section that was a baseball, and it said Frank White for county executive.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody, if you really put the spotlight on them and ask them under the heat of a lamp, did you think Frank White was going to be a visionary leader for Jackson County? I don't think anybody who's being honest would say that's true. I think they would say he played second base for the Royals. Mm-hmm. They retired his number. He was good.
It's not nothing. It's not nothing.
Unless you live in Jackson County and you have to deal with all of the fallout from all of that. So if you're dealing with fallout from your vehicle, let me help you with that, because we are keeping our cars longer. You got to keep them maintained. And that's where my friends at Christian Brothers Automotive in Independence come in. Now, each location is independently owned and operated. The one in Independence is run by my very good friend, Tim Porter. Tim's a great family guy. He has a very clean operation there. But the most important thing to you is they're going to fix your vehicle and you're going to be able to drive it longer, right? And when they fix it, they stand behind it. 3 years, 36,000-mile warranty, whichever benefits you the most. And what that means is they're going to cover repairs with a nationwide warranty for whichever takes longer, time or miles. You are covered until both 3 years and 36,000 miles is achieved. Now, I didn't know that when I started taking my cars there. 2 of my kids have worked there. It's a wonderful place to work. Tim's a great boss, great mentor, and all that. But the bottom line is they work on just virtually every brand of vehicle, and they're ASE Blue Seal recognized as a repair shop. And they've held on to that for 8 years. So if you need your car, you do need your car service. You got to change the oil, right? Every 3,000 miles, 5,000 miles on synthetic.
Tire rotation, oil change.
All that stuff. Maintain them, and they'll take care of you longer. And when something breaks on your car, Christian Brothers can help you. Get the appointment, though. 816-839-9266. They are right there on 40 Highway, just east of the 470-291 there. In Independence, Missouri, 19600 East 40 Highway. Tim Porter, great guy. Michael Schroer is a great guy.
Tremendous people.
They are definitely, and they employ a couple of my kids, right?
Yeah.
I think Tim Porter is a saint for employing a couple of my kids. Yeah. So Michael Schroer, he's the guy that's going to get you the house you need, right? Kids are back in school, so you're kind of locked in where you are if you're a parent right now. But hey, if your kids are starting college this fall, you are sitting fancy free. It's time to find that dream home. Downsize, find a piece of property you want to build on. Look at that, under contract. That is, I see that more often on Facebook with his face on it than just about anything else. Under contract. He's selling houses, a lot of starter homes, a lot of mid-range houses. They're building. Get with Michael Schroer. If you want to sell your house and buy your next one, he is your contact. 816-373-8400. He's with RE/MAX Elite in Lee Summit. I'll give you a cell phone, too, 816-520-9342. And when we do our live events, Michael's always at those. He's in this because he agrees with us, and he wants to see a better America. And that's what we're all about here. Let's get to a better America. And to my T-shirt again, Ronald Reagan, 2-term president. Pretty good, right? Still the gold standard in my mind. We'll get to gold here in a little bit. But Michael Schroer's number again, 816-373-8400. He's going to take care of you in the real estate world there. Okay, Ukraine, Russia, and Trump. Before we get there, have you seen what he's done to the Oval Office?
What specifically?
The gold. My God, it looks like, and I know that every president gets to do whatever they want, with the Oval Office and the White House and all that to make it their own and all that. But, just the word that comes to mind is gaudy.
Oh, I see. Okay, here's a good picture. So this is before with Biden. And
I say that's classy, right? That's classic Oval Office. And that's overkill. I mean,
he does like gold. The guy likes gold.
I mean, there's gold leaf in the top, whatever that is.
Yeah.
There's gold stuff on the fireplace. There's gold inlay stuff in the fireplace. And I don't know. I just think it's too much.
I like gold. I like gold too. I mean, is it over the top? I don't know.
He's an over-the-top kind of a guy.
Yeah.
He really is. So, keep that in mind. That has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about. I saw that picture and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, why don't you just make the walls gold, right? Let's just stop farting around here with like a little bit here and a little bit there, and just gold the whole thing over. I mean, gold member, right? Wasn't that from
Austin Powers?
Austin Powers. I mean, there you go. So first point about Ukraine, Russia, Trump. I think you and I will agree on this 100%. This is not America's problem.
Yep.
Not America's problem. Donald Trump wants to try and help for whatever reason. It's an opportunity for him to clean up another one of Biden's messes out there. And so the very latest that we know about this, obviously they've had the meeting in Alaska, and then everybody came to the White House. All the European leaders came to the White House. And, I put up on our Facebook page for the podcast that this is what world leadership looks like. Donald Trump got the presidents of all the countries, prime ministers of all the countries. He got NATO. He got who else? The EU to come. And
here's what that looked like.
And
there's Zelensky.
Yeah.
This is the prime minister of Britain, right?
Right.
That's is that Macron?
Macron's in the middle. And then Germany.
That's Germany.
Yep. And then you've got...
That's the Italian chick.
Yeah. And then you got the EU.
Okay.
Yeah. And then all the gold.
Yeah. All the gold in the background. Yeah. And then you have Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, some other... I think that's Hegseth back there.
But he got them to all come,
yeah.
Right? He got them to all come. And he got them to all sit down.
Well, it proves that it's still the case that when America calls, you answer.
Yeah. It's a big deal, and maybe they don't all love Trump, but this is Europe's problem. This is not America's problem. It's Europe's problem. But it's a mess that happened on Joe Biden's watch. Biden did nothing other than just give weapons and give weapons. They didn't buy weapons. We gave them your tax dollars, my tax dollars.
Yeah.
And Biden was prepared to do that ad infinitum. There was no stop date for that. Just keep bombing them, keep bombing them, keep bombing them.
And Trump said he was going to stop that, and then he re-upped the shipments to Ukraine. So
the difference is they're buying them now.
Yeah, but they're still getting them. I mean, it's still prolonging the war and causing more people to die.
Oh, I get it. And we'll get into all that in a second. But Putin was in Alaska. He came to Alaska. Why do you think he came to Alaska? He came to Alaska because Trump said, I'm done with this. And, India is buying your oil. Well, I'm just going to tariff the crap out of India. And that was like, his little anus just puckered a little bit, and he got on his plane and he came to Alaska. But did you catch the line?
I'm going out of order here. Sorry.
Did you catch the line, though, from Putin where he basically blamed Joe Biden for this?
Here, let me see. We're going to play this clip.
And in the end, I would like to add one more thing. I'd like to remind you that in 2022, during the last contact with the previous administration, I tried to convince my previous American colleague that the situation should not be brought to the point of no return when it would come to hostilities. And I said it quite directly back then that it's a big mistake. Today, when President Trump is saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that. I think that overall, me and President Trump have built a very good, business-like and trustworthy contact. And I have every reason to believe that moving down this path, we can come, and the sooner the better, to the end of the conflict in Ukraine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, he wasn't asked a question. He just threw that in. He's like, I want to say one more thing here. And he threw that in there. So, I don't know. I mean, Crimea was taken under Barack Obama's watch. Nobody wants to talk about that anymore. They took Crimea under Obama's watch. We had 4 years of Trump where they didn't do anything. And then Biden, we have what we have today. I wonder if there was anything behind this, though. Trump had the B-2 flyover and the fighter escort. I mean, he's a stage manager. That's at his core. That's what he is. I mean, he could put a show together, and he put together a hell of a show up in Alaska.
I noticed that too. Well, I'll play this clip here in a second. I played it out of order. Forgive me, but the whole thing was put together in like a week.
Yeah,
and they had like custom branded like staging and like I don't know if it's in this clip or not, but the stage that they walk up onto says like Alaska Summit 2025 in like giant letters. And it's like it's like a TV show.
Yeah.
And they put it all together in 1 week.
Well,
it's
and
just
Trump,
crazy.
did you see that he had a really wide red carpet and they gave Putin a little thin red carpet that comes off the Russian jet?
That's funny. Yeah, here's the clip of them walking up and then the B-2 flies over.
Putin's looking up going, what is that? Trump leans in and talks to him.
Meanwhile, it's like it's a fake Trump. They have like a Trump body double, and it's just like the B-2 flies over, and there's like, just blow up the whole
what do
thing.
you think Trump said to him there? You know,
he's probably something funny. He's probably like, "Don't worry, we're not gonna bomb you. I'm standing right here. They're not gonna bomb their own president, right?" But here's the stage at the end too. Look at this thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's nice.
Like all like custom.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to put that all together in 1 week. Crazy.
I saw one meme where you see the stealth in the middle and the 4 fighter jets on either side. Have you seen this one? And they had a letter on each of the jets. FAFO. On the jets. Mm-hmm. We know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Something.
And then the whole thing too, like there was a big deal made about Putin got into the motorcade, which I guess is a sign of like trust or whatever.
Yeah. He
got into the car, which is a weird thing, but I don't know. It's just the whole thing to me. I just don't see why we have to be enemies with Russia. I just don't understand it. Like we should. Isn't the bigger problem China?
China's a huge problem.
Like we're allies with Saudi Arabia. Right. We're allies with Qatar. We're allies with Israel. Countries that like have some serious problems. Let's just say.
Yeah.
And so why can't we why can't we at least work with Russia on our common interests?
Well, I think that's what Trump wants to do.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't want war. Reagan didn't want war. I saw somebody post something on Facebook which was asinine. They said, what's going on in Ukraine would be Ronald Reagan's wet dream. No, it wouldn't. He wanted peace. Yeah. He met with Gorbachev. He wanted to have peace. John F. Kennedy said to Khrushchev, we all breathe the same air.
Yeah.
Right? Why do we want to nuke each other? I don't know. But we got to find an end to this thing. What is Putin's end game? He comes to Alaska, then everybody comes to Washington, yet every day I'm reading in the wire that he's still continuing. He's bombing, he's droning. Why? To me, he's the aggressor. How is he not?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before and it's gotten me in trouble, but there's a reason that he is doing what he's doing.
It's in his mind, certainly
it's not just out of nowhere, and he has very clear and very specific things that he wants. He wants the expansion of NATO to stop. He wants he wants to keep Crimea, and he wants access to the port of Crimea via various land connections, So it's not like people jumping to these conclusions that, well, he's just like Hitler or whatever. He's not gonna stop at Ukraine. He's gonna take over all of Europe. There's no evidence for that. He's being very specific about what he wants.
Okay, but you're missing history here, and I'm not going to let you do that. You're missing history because Neville Chamberlain went to Munich to negotiate with Adolf Hitler after he went into the Sudetenland, which to him was German territory. Right? That's the old German Empire. And Neville Chamberlain came away waving a page and he goes, I've guaranteed peace in our time. How'd that work out?
Well, the British government sidelined Neville Chamberlain and brought in,
after the war started. After the war started.
Yeah. Okay? I mean, I think it was I'm not an expert in World War II history, but, there's an opportunity for peace and then people on both sides,
So, okay,
renege
so
on that.
Ultimately, this is going to be Europe's problem.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing out of the DC thing is they're talking about something called NATO Light, where there's an Article 5 light type thing, where Europe, and I'm guessing Trump's also talking about the United States, guaranteeing Ukraine's sovereignty.
how is that not just them being in NATO?
I have no idea. I don't understand it.
I mean, it's just that the thing is, the reality of the situation is that is not going to fly for Putin and Russia. And in my opinion, understandably so. It's, they have their own interests. We have our interests. Their interest is not having Ukraine be associated with NATO. They want Ukraine to be a neutral buffer state. And if we have some kind of trigger that's, you can call it whatever you want. You can call it NATO light, whatever. But if there's guaranteed protections, if we're putting if we're sending weapons to that country, if we're putting NATO country troops in their country, then they might as well just be part of NATO. What's the difference?
That was my question.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see where it goes.
I just don't see that leading to peace, and Zelensky is so hard-headed about it. Like, he's losing.
Well, he's lost part of his country. How would we feel?
But the thing is, like, he doesn't have any leverage. He's losing the war. The only reason that he is even in it this long is because of U.S. support, and he's making all these demands that are unrealistic. So, like, how do we proceed from here if we want to stop the war? If we want peace, there's going to have to be some concessions.
Somebody's got to stop shooting. That ends a war. Stop shooting. I mean, I know that you're in the bag for Putin, and you're,
I'm not
whatever,
in the bag for Putin.
Whatever
I'm just
reason.
being realistic about it.
Yeah. Well, if he stops shooting, there's a better chance for peace. He invaded Ukraine. Right. Ukraine did not invade Russia. Putin invaded Ukraine.
Right. But why did he do that?
Why did he do that? Well, a lot of people speculate that he's trying to put the old Soviet Union back together.
Yeah, but again, that's just like, I'm not saying it's definitely not true, but it's just speculation. Like, he's told us from his opinion why he's doing all of these things over and over and over again. And then people are just making assumptions like, I mean, there's a whole history here that we've talked about, but, of not only the corruption in Ukraine, but of the Russian heritage and allegiance of certain parts of Ukraine, combining that with the expansion of NATO to the borders of Ukraine, and now trying to bring them in this kind of light fashion. I mean, that's his perspective. I'm not in the bag for him. I'm just being realistic about what's happening and what he's telling us about what's happening.
Well, the realistic part is if he stops shooting, there's a better chance for peace. Now, why is Trump doing this? Now, the liberals say he's angling for a Nobel Peace Prize. He just wants a trophy. Donald Trump wants a trophy, and if he gets a trophy, it's going to be fine. Now, what I would say is, why wouldn't he, right? Think about all he's done here. The Abraham Accords in the Middle East, which he's building on now. If he gets this war done, which he didn't start, and he will tell you all the other wars that he's solved behind the scenes, India, Pakistan. He says there's like 6. I don't know what the 6 is.
Yeah.
But, it's Donald Trump, so it's always the biggest and the best and all that. Why wouldn't he get the Nobel Peace Prize? They gave one to Obama.
For nothing.
For nothing. Well, it was something. He was the first black president.
Yeah.
So he gets a trophy. Maybe it's not about the Nobel Peace Prize, although the trophy would look good in the gold Oval Office, right? Maybe Trump has a higher calling.
Oh, there's a clip. I'm pulling it up right now. I got distracted by my my rambling there. Here we go.
And, we're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade.
There you have it.
So he's trying to get into heaven.
Yeah, I mean,
and I hear that's not going well.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
So as we record this, the next meeting has yet to be scheduled, but it looks like it's going to be in Budapest. And I would hope that you hope that for all the right reasons that he succeeds. right?
For sure.
We should all be wishing that. Even the TDS crowd, and I swear, I put something up on the podcast page, and I know 2 people immediately who are going to react to it, right? And then there's a third who will jump in there who we'll talk about in a little bit. But you can almost predict what they're going to say. You know, if I said, Donald Trump just came out of the West Wing and said, what a lovely day it is. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to rain. It's going to storm, you know, because he's wrong, right? You know, if he says the sky is blue, they'll say, orange. Orange man bad. Maybe the TDS crowd can get on board here with something that would be good for the entire world.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just, again, I'm trying to look at this realistically, and I just wonder, the optics of the meeting are good. It's good that he's meeting with Putin. It's good that he's meeting with Zelensky and the European leaders, but has anything changed, actually?
No.
Like, has Putin's goals changed? He restated in the meeting again what his goals are, which is the same as what he's been saying the entire time. So he's not budging on that. Has Zelensky made any concessions whatsoever? No.
You don't know that.
Has anything?
You weren't in the meetings. You have no idea.
That's true. But I'm assuming that he did not, because he has not thus far. He's just asked for more money and more weapons. So for that to just magically, you know, change overnight, I wouldn't expect that. So until that happens, it's kind of like what we talk about with people going in front of like the Senate Judiciary Committee and everyone yells at them, but then nothing comes of it, you know? So until there's actual progress made or changes in what people are expecting from these 2 parties and from the United States, then nothing really has happened.
Let's talk about the progress of your roof. Good to know the health of your roof. If you don't know what your roof looks like before a storm, how in the world can you prove to an insurance company that the damage is from a recent storm? I hear all these commercials out there telling you, you know, what you can get from your insurance company. I go with somebody I trust, and that's Austin Watterson and roofbyroyal.com at 816-540-7057, because Austin works with the insurance companies, because the last thing you want to do is get canceled by your insurance company. He can actually get you a roof that's going to qualify for better rates. Think about that. Insurance companies have tightened their guidelines on what they're going to agree to, so it's very important to have evidence of your roof before the storm hits, right? Royal Roofing and Solar will come out and provide you with a free roof health report. And he's not going to build something that doesn't need to be built, right? And if you've got a roof that's used its life and you're like, well, I'm just going to wait for the next hailstorm to come along and then I'll get my insurance company to pay for it. I don't know who's feeding you that line, but that is not realistic. Again, go with somebody you can trust. My guy is the one who did my roof on my house, and he did it in 2 separate stages because we had part of the roof that failed, and he had to come out and fix that. And then when the rest of it was time to go, an old shake shingle roof. And it's funny because Bob Watson told me, hey, if State Farm knew you had that, they'd probably cancel you. So we got rid of that, and we got the right roof on it, and now, you know, my insurance rates have gone down. It's amazing how those things work together. Roofedbyroyal.com, 816-540-7057. Get Austin on your roof, and his team will give you a free roof inspection so you can see exactly what you are dealing with there. All right. Why did I change?
All right.
I changed the page there for some reason. Let me go back here just a second.
You want me to ad-lib the Reid?
You want to sing something? I got to figure out what I'm doing next year. Here we go. Funhouse Pizza. That's where we're going next. That's why I didn't have the script. Now I got the script. Jim Dingman, Funhouse Pizza. It's got fun in the name. 50 Highway in Lee's Summit, 7 Highway in Blue Springs. All of the live fun events that we do for the podcast, we do them at Funhouse Pizza because they got great food. It's a great gathering spot, whether you got a team meeting going on, you got a party, somebody's birthday party, and it's just great pizza. You can either dine in or you can order it online at funhousepizza.com. Come in, enjoy some cold beverages and play some games with your kids and all that, or just take it home and have the best pizza that you are going to have. Funhouse Pizza, 2 locations, 50 Highway in Lee's Summit and 7 Highway in Blue Springs. All right. Closer to home, since we've solved world peace here and didn't have World War III in the podcast, which I appreciate. Closer to home, Texas redistricting. That continues to be in the news. And California, Gavin Newsom, he's going to fight back. California is going to go even bluer. And I saw the proposed map they have in California. I don't know if you've seen this, but they took a Republican district and basically swooped all the way down to Northern California to grab enough of San Francisco to tilt it to a Democrat seat. So that's the game that we're playing now, right?
Is this the map that you're talking about?
Yeah. So if you look at the map on the left there,
San Francisco Bay Area?
Well, all the way to the left, San Francisco Bay Area,
yeah.
And then it snakes all the way up to Northern California and
District
around.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's going to help them. And
then here's the one from Texas.
Yeah. So I suggested that last week to Illinois. It's like, you know what? You carve up Chicago, go all the way down to southern Illinois where it's completely red, and you can get some more Democrat seats. But here's the dirty little truth about all that is the blue states have already done this to a large degree. Mm-hmm. There are a lot more Republican states out there. So if you want to get into a war, it's probably not going to end well. And this is where our old friend Glenn comes in. Glenn's one of your old friends, right? You know him?
Glenn who?
I can't remember his last name. He comments a lot on our podcast page. No, Glenn.
I don't.
You don't know Glenn?
No.
Ben hadn't been in there for a while. I think Ben finally gave up. That's what happens. If you hit him enough with the truth and logic and common sense, they tend to go away after time. We still have a few of them that are sticking around now because they want to weigh in. So Glenn thinks he knows all about it. I recommend that he and those of you who don't understand all this, read the Constitution. It's great reading, and it sets it all out there. I know that you have feelings about all this, but go learn something, okay? He says the census is done every 10 years. That is true, going back to the beginning of the Constitution. And then he says lines are only redrawn after the census. Not necessarily true. The Constitution does not lay that out. That's something that's been done through tradition, and now there's a bucking of that tradition. Because again, Donald Trump looks at what's happened out here and says, well, you know, we got a midterm coming up. I'll bet we could squeeze a few more Republican seats out of Texas. There's nothing in the Constitution that says we can't do it, so he's going to do it. Okay. Glenn says illegals have never been counted in the census. That is also not true. The Constitution clearly states that all persons in the country shall be counted. Why do you think Biden opened the floodgates on the southern border? Was it to be a nice Christian? Hey, we got this wonderful country. Everybody should be enjoying it. All 7 billion of you who live on the planet should come to the United States. You think he did that because he's a good Christian? I don't think so. I think there was a plan in place, and we've seen exactly what happened. So I want to walk you through all this, okay? Biden opens the floodgate. We got a lot of illegals coming in the country. What happened next? We had a census. Those people were all counted. Districts were reapportioned. And then, on top of that, the Democrats, that's when they did their gerrymandering thing. If you look at New England, if you look at Illinois, Maryland, they call it the Maryland crab because of how, you know, gnarly it looks. California did some of this too, okay? After they did that, this is why Democrats piss me off so much. After they did all this, they actually had the balls to put a bill on the floor of Congress that said, we should stop this gerrymandering practice. We should just stop it. Mm-hmm. Now, no Republicans voted for it, by the way, because they saw exactly what I'm telling you happened. None of them voted for it. And so Democrats say, well, Republicans obviously want to gerrymander. They want to gerrymander all over the place. Nope, you already did it, and we're not going to cut off our options to do the same thing down the road. It's exactly what they wanted. This, you know, and the Supreme Court's clear on this too. For better or worse, gerrymandering for political purposes is okay. Democrats are just better at it. They've
certainly done it more.
They have done it more.
Here's the statement from Trump that he put out on Truth Social. I have instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Have you noticed he's ending a lot of his tweets with that?
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you for attention to this matter.
Yeah.
I just got something.
I miss sad. Sad exclamation point used to be how he ended all his tweets.
Yeah, I just got something that says Frank White just made a major... Oh, he says he's not going to run for re-election. So that's the update as we're doing the thing. Frank will not run for re-election. He still wants to keep his job, though. Vote yes if you want to fire him. Okay, I'm sorry. That just took my... attention away there for a second.
6 minutes ago, breaking, Jackson County Executive Frank White Jr. says he's not planning to run for re-election once his term ends. And then here's the letter obtained by KCTV5. And not going to read that, but you just said it.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
So there you go. Okay, so my advice to Glenn and the other liberals who start their day with, what has Trump done to piss me off today, is that they read the Constitution and then call me when he does something unconstitutional. Because so far, he's been between the white lines of what is constitutional. And you've got a bunch of district court judges out there. That's the only power the Democrats have right now, and they're trying to throw speed bumps at him. District courts are not mentioned in the Constitution. And oddly enough, when it gets to the Supreme Court level, they've been on his side.
Yep.
So... let me know when he does something unconstitutional. When the Supreme Court slaps him down and says, nope, you've gone too far, then you'll have my attention. I'm not in the bag for Donald Trump. I just told you I don't like the garish gold that he's put in the Oval Office. And there are some other things where, I'm not crazy about him. But by and large, when I was at a meeting of the Republicans last month, Carolyn Caton said something that really stuck with me. She said, because she works with Democrats too at the state level, she said, if we agree on 80% of something, I'll take that. Yeah. Think about that. We're not going to agree on everything. It's tough to agree 100% with anybody on anything. But if you can agree on 80%, that should be a definite starting point. Next week on the podcast, we are going to have Herb on from Clay Como Shooters. We'll go ahead and tell you about them because they've been with us as a sponsor off and on. They're on 69 Highway in Clay Como, right there between 435 and I-35. Their phone number, if you want to give them a call, is 816-452-4867. What do they do? Clay Como Shooters. What do you think they do? They're a full-service firearms dealer, and that includes buying guns. They've got experienced trainers there with law enforcement background. In fact, when we have Herb on next week, there have been so many issues with guns lately. What could a good guy with a gun do that would make a difference there? I think Herb's going to have some interesting information on that. You need to find a firearm to protect your family because, maybe there was a feeling in the old days that if something bad was happening, you'd just call 911 and the cops would get there in plenty of time. I don't know that that's the case anymore. You, as a head of household, if you're the head of household, you have a responsibility to protect your family. And you can't do that if you don't have the proper firearm and the proper training that goes along with it. And they will get you trained at Clay Como Shooters, experienced trainers with law enforcement background. They've got an indoor shooting range. Kurt and I have both been to that. It's a lot of fun, but it definitely, can hone your skills. They have affordable pricing. They're not a big box store. Neighborhood business, just looking out for the community. Remember, protect yourself and your family. Find that right firearm and get trained on it. Use your Second Amendment rights to the full. 816-452-4867. Clay Como Shooters right there in Clay Como, Missouri on 69 Highway. There's a date coming up that if you're 65 or about to be 65, maybe you're already in retirement, that you need to know, and that is October 15th. That's the Medicare annual enrollment period. It starts October 15th, and it will go through December 7th. Kirk Doris and his company, Medicare Simplified KC, can take the complicated and make it simple. A lot of changes are coming. The big, beautiful bill is definitely going to affect Medicare. How will it affect you, right? Do you want to go in this alone, or do you want to go in with somebody who has helped thousands of people just like you navigate to these convoluted waters of Medicare? Call them today. It will cost you nothing. They get paid by the insurance carriers. 816-701-6661. Medicare Simplified KC. Their offices are in Independence. They'll tell you where you need to go, 3600 South Nolan Road. Or if you can't make it to them, they'll come to you, and they'll bring the whole dog and pony show. So make sure that when you set that appointment up, and remember, that's coming fast. October 15th will be here before you know it, and you only have until December 7th to make your Medicare annual enrollment choices. So get with Kirk Doris and let him know that you heard about him here on Dale Carter's America. We have more changes coming in broadcasting, and obviously, there have been changes in the radio community in Kansas City. If you're listening to the podcast and you're also a fan of country music, you know that across town, some of our friends who we compete with on the radio, Zeke, Cody on the morning show at WDAF 106.5 The Wolf, and Shotgun Jackson, who I've known for 30 years. Heck, I've known all of them for about that long. They all got fired. Mm-hmm. This business is cruel. And in terms of them, it's even crueler because they all lost their jobs so that company could throw what I think is a Hail Mary to bring one person back who, quite frankly, we all used to work with. And all I'll say is good luck to them, right? So that happened in our own town. Jobs are going away. Today, as we record this podcast, is National Radio Day. And because of the radio, I've had a job for 46 years, right?
Yep.
And I don't know what else I'd be doing. I mean, maybe I'd be doing some other stuff. Who knows? The podcast is an offshoot of that. What I've gotten to do with the Chiefs and high school football is an offshoot of all of that. So it all comes back to the radio. But for me, it's always been commercial radio, not NPR, not PBS, no tax money coming our way. We fought for every dime we got, and that's what we do on the podcast too. We fight for every dime we get, and we bring in sponsors. And you know what? If we're not getting the message out there, and you're not, going to them and checking with Bob Watson on insurance rates, checking with Austin for your roof, having pizza at Funhouse Pizza, and all the other sponsors who are involved here, they won't renew with us. So the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, remember that? If you ever watch like PBS shows or listen to NPR,
yeah,
the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, they're the ones who paid for everything. Well, no, they didn't. All the Corporation for Public Broadcasting did was take our tax dollars and say, oh, I think you're left enough. You get some money.
It was a funnel.
You get some money. You get some money. Well, now that Donald Trump has taken like almost $2 billion out of public broadcasting, they folded. It's like, we have no reason to exist anymore. So there is no more Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
According to, this is a PBS article, so the bias is evident from the first line. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a cornerstone of American culture for 3 generations, announced Friday it would take steps toward its own closure. Wow. Strong words.
Tried to sell the fact that NPR was so vital to the country because of the emergency alert system. They said it was some outrageous number, like 4 out of 5 Americans access these stations, and it's important that, they stay on the air. Well, the flip side of that is, if you're getting 4 out of 5 Americans, you ought to be able to go sell that.
Yeah.
There ought to be people lining up to be on your station. You don't need my tax dollars to get that done.
And everyone has cell phones now.
Oh, it's changed.
The emergency alert thing.
Everything has changed.
Yeah.
And, I still think commercial broadcasting has the lion's share of viewing and listening.
Yeah.
PBS was around because you had the 3 network affiliates. Maybe if you were in a bigger town, you had an independent television station, and then you had education over here.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, education became indoctrination, and
100%.
very much a left-wing slant on everything that they did.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump's just the guy. I mean, he came in and he said, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Right? And so many Republicans, I would put George W. Bush in this category, right? Maybe even Ronald Reagan to a certain extent, because Reagan was the one who ran on, I'm going to get us out of the education department. Nothing changed. Mm-hmm. Trump's the guy who came in and said, why are we doing this? Well, let's don't do that anymore. That's what a CEO who's actually run something and is a pragmatic problem solver will do. And I know you Orange Man bad people, you don't like the garish Oval Office. I don't either. You don't like his bombacity and his bragging and all that other stuff. I don't like that either. But the bottom line is the guy gets shit done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I can just kind of cook on this for a second, you kind of alluded to this, but I think part of being a conservative is good versus bad. It's not just big government versus small government. And like, this is a perfect example. You mentioned PBS. We've played Schoolhouse Rock clips in the past. Like, if public funding for education or for broadcasting was going towards something that is actually educational or patriotic, or, this would never happen, but, glorifies God, or like things like that are good, objectively good, then we'd be in favor of it, more so at least, rather than, if it's, transgender puppy dogs or something like that. You know what I mean? So
I do know what you mean.
There's an obvious distinction here between something being used for good and something being used for bad. It's not just about the thing itself, where there should be no public education system. Yeah, because they're destroying education. You know what I mean? Like, if they were actually doing something good, then we'd be having a totally different conversation.
Well, and again, that's where Trump's pulling federal funding. If you're on the wrong side of all of this, if you are indoctrinating our children rather than educating them, he's pulling public funding, and they are screaming, from the hills on that. By the way, there's no word yet on a landing spot for Stephen Colbert. I have an idea, though. He could be the anchor of the newly rebranded MSNBC. Did you see that? MSNBC. They were one of the pieces discarded when NBC Universal got rid of everything costing them more than it was bringing in. They got rid of a lot of their cable channels, and MSNBC was one that they cast aside. And they told them when they got rid of them, we're taking the NBC branding back too. We're taking our Peacock back. You got to come up with something else. So what they came up with, and I am not making this up, it's now going to be called MS Now.
This is the new logo here?
Yeah, that's their MS Now. My source for news, opinion, and the world. So now they're saying the quiet part out loud, because we always knew it was nothing but opinion, and it was far left-wing opinion.
Yeah.
And, they had about 5 viewers, but now they own it. MS Now.
I wonder, as a, person that's involved in sort of the creative industry, I wonder how much money they spent on this rebrand to try and revamp their image. It's obviously going to fail. I mean, everyone knows what it is.
Right. I mean,
if you just come up with a new logo and, change your fonts, it's not changing the core of what you're doing.
No, because they're keeping everybody. And all the hosts are saying, hey, we're still here. We're just changing the name and all that. One person who did not make the cut, though, as you know, is Joy Reid. She's been gone from MSNBC for a while now. She's too far left for the new MS Now. And I found this clip where Joy Reid is trying to rewrite history now.
Here we go. Hold your breath.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the slavery stuff. They got PragerU. They can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music. We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, rock and roll. They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't make rock and roll. So they have to stamp the king on a man whose main song was stolen from an overweight black woman. They can't fix
That's
It's really sad. She's so full of resentment and hatred, you know. And it's ironic because it's her and people like her who will point the finger and say that we're hateful, we're racist, we're, you know, homophobic, whatever. And just the amount of resentment and hate in her voice. I mean, what must it be like to just be so full of anxiety and just all day? I mean, it can't be a good life.
Well, that's TDS in a nutshell. I mean, those people roll out of bed every day and go, how can I be pissed off at Donald Trump today?
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing. I mean, you know, again, I point out that when Biden was president, that's when we started the podcast. Did we call him out on things? Did we make fun of him a little bit? Yeah, we did. But I didn't wake up every morning going, God, how can I hate Joe Biden today? I never hated Joe Biden. I kind of felt sorry for him toward the end, you know, because they were running him out there and it was clear he wasn't up to the job.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt about that. I will say this, the Donald Trump thing, and I have not heard him say it. I've seen it in written reports. I don't like the idea of going through the Smithsonian and taking out references to slavery or trying to sanitize that part of our history. That was a dark period in United States history, and we should never forget it. It's a stain that we carry moving forward. There's a difference, though, between not forgetting it, learning about it, and having it be the focus of your life moving forward in the 21st century. I think that's where I differ with Joy Reid. And she mentioned country music. Y'all don't have country music without black folk, right? I would encourage her and anybody else to check out the history of country music that was done by Ken Burns on PBS. Have you ever seen that?
Is that this right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I saw the jazz one. I've seen the Civil War
This one is really, really good. It falls apart in the last one because it was like he was trying to jam everything at the end and he missed some stuff. But as far as the history of country music, man, it is rich. And it's an 8-part series, 16 hours in total. And, you know, part of the money you spend on this, if you buy it, will go to PBS. So that's called commerce. Mm-hmm. I just gave a pitch for something that you might want to watch that might show you something, and they'll make money off of it. Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. I didn't send them a tax dollar. I just gave them a little plug, and if you go buy it, they'll get some of the money. Isn't that awesome?
It's almost like if you create something of value that people want, then you'll make money.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine that.
Capitalism in a nutshell, which we're all for. And I know that that's not going to get us elected mayor in New York City or any other big blue city, but it is what I believe. And I believe it's true. I also believe this, if you go out and you don't have insurance, oh my gosh, are you taking your life in your own hands? I mean, I see these people running around still with like expired temporary tags. And my first question that I ask myself is, do you have insurance? Probably not. So I try and stay away from you. Bob Watson is my insurance agent. So when I've been in wrecks, and I've been in a few over the course of my life, I have my insurance card and it says Bob Watson State Farm Insurance on it. He's been my guy for 30 years. Why do you think I've kept him for 30 years? Because it's just habit and I don't want to change? No, it's because he's been there for my family as my family has gone through everything related to insurance, cars, home, health, auto, home, life. He covers it all out of his office in Blue Springs, 7th and Main. He does commercial insurance as well. Bundle your home and car insurance and save even more. State Farm is the name that you know. Now I'm going to give you a name you really should know, and that's Bob Watson. He's been a State Farm agent for 51 years. The guy knows his stuff.
I'd say congratulations.
And he'll take care of you. 816-229-7878. Like a good neighbor, State Farm, and Bob Watson is there. Okay, before we leave you, we'd like to leave you with something funny here at the end. And I came across this story. The Cambridge Dictionary is always adding new words, right, to our lexicon based on pop culture and all that. They're adding 3, and the first 2, I can discern what it is they're about. Tradwife, 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 traditional wife.
Yeah, it's like slang.
Yeah,
it's millennial Zoomer slang.
It's probably a slam though, right? Yo, you're a trad wife.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
There's some nuance there. I mean, it's internet culture, you know.
I mean, you know this. You know that term?
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know the other ones at all.
No. You don't know delulu?
No clue. What is that?
Delusional. It's just another word for delusional.
Man,
Delulu.
People are so lazy.
They really are. But my favorite of the three is the third one because I had no idea what this meant. Skibidi. Skibidi. And I'm like, what does that even mean? I mean, I saw a picture online of a guy's head coming out of a toilet, and there is a thing called a skibidi toilet. But when you look at what the definition is, it's described this way: nonsensical, pejorative, and a filler word. So, you know, I guess if you just need a word, you could just throw in skibidi.
Oh, boy.
Am I even pronouncing it right?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Am I playing this clip?
Play the clip.
All right. Going into Hot Topic. What? I don't.
You can get it at Hot Topic, I guess.
I have
don't know.
no idea what just happened. See, this is like, now I feel like a boomer watching this stuff. I'm like, what the heck?
Just remember, we are hip, happening, in the know. We're on the cutting edge of what's happening in the podcast world. Until next week, this is Dale Carter's America.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.